What is up, everyone? Mule Kick Media here, and today we're going to be doing a very anticipated video, which is, of course, my Arrow Season 4 Rant review. Now, if you haven't seen my previous 3 reviews for the first 3 seasons of Arrow, go check them out because they're going to be a lot less ranty and shoutier than this one. So, as you can probably already tell, like I've said, this is going to be a rant review because I hate this season of Arrow. I hate it with a passion. Easily one of the worst seasons of a TV show ever. Like, if I was doing a list of the worst seasons in a good TV show, this would probably be top of that list. It was that awful, in my opinion, in comparison to, the previous seasons we got. This is just such a downgrade in comparison. So, yeah, this is going to be great. So, let's just get into the story synopsis because who honestly gives a fuck? So, the story synopsis. It takes place 6 months after the end of Season 3. Oliver and Felicity have gone off and tried to have a normal life until they are called back into Starling City because these ghosts slash hive agents, they're proving too much trouble for them. They need Oliver and Felicity back. They come back. They find out that they're working for a man known by the name of Damian Dark, who is revealed to be a metahuman, and they try and stop him. That is the story of this season in a nutshell. And it's just so boring. It's honestly, the story was just so shit. Like, the writing this season was so awful in comparison to the first 3. Like, Season 3 had some pretty dodgy writing at times, but in Season 4, it's all over the place. The writing is just blur. At best, it's average. That's all I can say. Because apart from that, it just really isn't that great writing, to be honest with you. So, not really much to say about the story, other than it's pretty mediocre. Comparing it to the other ones, anyways. So, let's get into the very, 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 very few things that I liked about Season 4. So, one of these very few things is Damian Dark. Okay, I thought he was a very, very good portrayal by the actor who played him. I don't know what his name is. I thought he played him very, very well in terms of his, mannerisms, and just his acting in general was very good. And even though his character doesn't really fit that well into Arrow, I still respected the actor who portrayed him. I thought he still did a very good job. It's just a shame that I wasn't really a big fan of the villain overall in terms of his motives and his character development. But we're talking about what we liked, and I liked him. So, the other few things are Laurel and Diggle. Like, they're literally the only 2 main characters that I honestly care about that are in Arrow. Like, Laurel Lance, I really liked her by the end of Season 3, and in Season 4 I liked her even more, even though she's given so little character development throughout the whole course of the season. It's like, literally, Guggenheim just completely fucking forgot about her. And honestly, she has 70 years of comic book history, and you've run out of ideas with her. Wow, Guggenheim, your lore and knowledge of the comics is just so great, isn't it, pal? You just know how to write stories about Laurel, don't you? And then we have Diggle, and I'm John Diggle, of course, and I still like him as a character. I didn't think his storyline was as compelling as I thought it was going to be this season, but still, I liked him. I still like John Diggle. I still like him, even though he looks absolutely retarded in that suit. Like, his suit just looks awful. It just looks like a rip-off suit from the movie Steel, and oh my god, that movie is awful, and it has an equally as bad suit, and it just reminded me of that, to be honest. It was that horrible. And the other final thing that I liked about Season 4 were the crossover episodes. And specifically, I'm talking about the crossover episode with Constantine and the crossover episode with The Flash. And the reason these episodes are good is because they have Flash and Constantine in them. They literally just make these episodes good just because of the fact that they are on the screen. Even though it's only for 1 episode each. So, yeah. Wow. That's how bad it was. I relied on other DC characters to make cameos to make this show better. That's how bad it was. And I guess I could also say, Roy Harper does return in this season for 1 episode, and that episode was good simply because Roy Harper was back. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the positives. Apart from that, No other positives for this season, honestly, for me. So let's just get into the many negatives I have to talk about. So let's get into the big one, Olicity. I hate it. I hate this relationship so much. Mark Guggenheim does not know how to write scripts at all. Like, just Olicity in general, I was never a big fan of it. Like, and I don't hate Felicity's character, alright? She was okay in season 1 and 2. Season 3, I started to get a bit, annoyed with her. In season 4, I just grew to hate her. I just wanted her dead. She was just that unlikable a character. She's so annoying. She has to whinge and moan and cry about everything, and it's just so boring to watch her on screen. And her mother is even worse. Like, I hated her in season 3, but in season 4, fuck me, do I want this woman off my screen. She is awful. She cannot act at all. Her acting talents are zero. She's awful, okay? I just don't want her on screen. She's honestly terrible at acting, and I just don't like her character one bit. I hate her equally as much as Felicity. She's just awful. I don't like her. Get her off my screen. I mean, even Captain Lance is going out with her. Like, bro, where are your standards? Like, I would never go out with this woman, okay? You must have set your standards very, very low to want to go out with this woman, honestly. Like, what are you doing? You need to rethink your life, pal. You need to redefine what the word chick means. And even though, yeah, she's in her 40s, she isn't even the hottest of 40-year-olds, so yeah. Why? Why the fuck would you do this? Like, Felicity was just pointless. Like, Felicity just has to save the day every single episode. It's like just like a common, funny gag that will run out throughout the whole season. Like, ooh, I wonder what Felicity is going to do to save the day. Because, like, it got to the point where I felt like Felicity was the main character of this show, not Oliver Queen / the Arrow. Like, he was a side character. In fact, they might as well just renamed this season The Felicity Show and Friends, featuring Arrow, because she plays much more of an important role in the story than Oliver Queen does, and that annoyed me so much. He's playing a supporting character, essentially, in his own show. That's when you know you're giving a character too much attention, and when it's someone like Felicity, who I'm not a big fan of, then that just makes it even worse for someone like me. Like, I just don't like her. I really hope that they do something else with her character. Either she fucks off my screen, or she just becomes a much better character, because I just don't like her. She's awful. I don't want to see her on screen unless they change her character and actually make her fucking likable, which I hope they do. Now we go on to the next thing, the horrible writing. What happened to the writing this season, Mark Guggenheim? Like, I already know that you can't write scripts without, listening to the teenage Tumblr and Twitter fan base of girls who support Arrow and Olicity. Like, honestly, it's absolutely stupid. And the writing is awful. In particular, trying to link segments of the flashbacks, back to present day. Like, for example, the idol that gives people mystical powers, and it's the same thing that gives Damian Dark his powers. Why? And Oliver saw these things on the island, so why did he not make the connection that these two things might be the same, or be like, hey, I remember seeing this thing, back at that time on the island, but no, I can't say that because Mark Guggenheim can't write scripts to save his life. Honestly, the writing is awful. Dreadful writing for a TV show like this. It was just so bad at being able to link the two timelines together. And speaking of flashbacks, oh my god, the flashbacks this season were so mind-numbingly boring and had really nothing to do with the plot at all until like the final few. The only flashbacks that I watched were the ones in episode 5 because they had Constantine in them. That is the only reason I watched them. Like, they were just so boring. Like, you thought season 3's flashbacks were pointless and boring? You have not seen anything until you watch season 4's flashbacks. They are much, much worse. Much less interesting to watch on screen. Like, it's honestly crazy. How do you make flashbacks boring when they were, like, probably the best parts, arguably, of seasons 1 and 2? Like, honestly, with season 5, they need to end the flashbacks. Just stop doing them because they're just becoming really boring and just a massive drag down of the show's quality. Like, just get rid of them. I honestly don't care about the flashbacks anymore. They're just totally overused and completely unneeded, in my opinion. They should just get rid of them. I just don't want them on the screen. Now we have a little funny segment, B puns, specifically episode 17, where they bring in this character, this villain, and she spouts out enough B puns to make Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin happy, okay? You could give these two serious competition. Like, if you do a head-to-head, it'd be a pretty close call, because she comes out with some absolutely fucking dreadful B puns. In fact, I'm going to play some of them on screen for you right now, just so you can witness how awful they are.
Hand one over and I'll be on my way. Their behavior can be appalling. Because we got interrupted. Did I kill first? A or B?
See? Awful. Awful. Like, I had to put up with a full episode of this. Like, literally, when I was watching this episode, I was contemplating shooting myself throughout the whole time. It was just so unwatchable at that point, almost. It's horrible. Why does Arrow have to have these kind of things in them? Like, I understand, yes, she's a Flash villain, and obviously she's, is very, campy and, family-friendly villain, but she does not belong on Arrow. Arrow is a 15-rated show, okay? You don't have these kinds of villains on there. Like, it's just stupid. Get her off my screen, okay? Like, it's honestly dumb. I don't get it. I don't get why she has to be on my screen. She's an awful villain. Like, seriously, Emily Kinney, you leave The Walking Dead and you become this awful villain on Flash/Arrow. What are you doing in your career? Just stick to music. Just stick to something that, you're good at. You're good at acting, but just don't play this character, please. Just don't. Get off my screen. Like many other things. And then also, Guggenheim, the son of a bitch thinks, oh, I can turn the Oracle character and merge her with Felicity, because I'm going to bring up another plot point that pissed me off in season 4. He tries to turn Felicity into Barbara Gordon, because in episode 9 she gets shot. A bullet goes through her spine. She ends up being confined to a wheelchair because she's paralyzed from the waist down. And as soon as I heard this news, I facepalmed, because I just knew that Guggenheim was trying so hard to copy off of Batman. Like, it was already a joke that Arrow directly ripped off segments of the Batman storyline, but this was just so fucking obvious, to the point where even Oliver Queen even makes a reference to Oracle himself when he gives Felicity the nickname of Overwatch, and he's like, oh, I was going to have Oracle, but it's already taken. And it's like, fuck you, Guggenheim. Fuck you, okay? You know nothing about DC Comics, okay? You know nothing at all. You don't know the fans, you don't know how to write scripts, you don't know anything about DC. Honestly, I could do a whole rant video about this dude and how jack shit he knows about DC. It's absolutely unbelievable. His head is so far up his fucking arse, it's unbelievable. The mystical elements. Why did they have to be such a big part of this season? Like, Damian Dark as a villain, this is why he does not suit Arrow. Because he's a mystical villain. He can essentially use the Force to stop arrows, okay? He's too overpowered. He should not have been a villain on the Arrow. And I understand, yeah, they're kind of limited because, of course, the DC extended universe, the movie universe is obviously taking these characters away because, for example, Amanda Waller, she died this season. Can't remember what her name is, but the Japanese woman who has the katana, obviously she doesn't play as big a role because she's in Suicide Squad as well. And, it's just stupid. And I understand, yeah, you kind of scrape for the bottom of the barrel with a villain. But Damian Dark, I hadn't heard of this dude when I went into this season. But as soon as I saw he had mystical powers, I was like, he's too OP. He shouldn't be going up against Arrow, because by any logical reasons, he could kick Arrow's ass easily. Without a shadow of a doubt, he could destroy him. But the show just thinks, oh no, we can merge it well. And the problem with adding these mystical / metahuman elements is it takes away what makes Arrow special, Because, with Legends of Tomorrow, with The Flash, and with Supergirl, these shows, because they're supposed to be more fun, they can have these supernatural elements to them. But Arrow always remained, special because it felt grounded in reality. It felt gritty. You didn't have as many metahumans on there. In fact, I'm pretty sure for the first 2 seasons there isn't such a thing. It's only really season 3 where they bring them in, but I felt like it was the perfect blend because it didn't completely overtune the whole season or feel like it was, too much of a focus. But in season 4, it's like literally the main focus. Everything has to be a meta-human, and it's just stupid. It takes away from what makes Arrow unique. It just didn't suit the tone of the show, in my opinion. It just completely detracted me from the screen because I was like, it's boring because I've already seen this on Flash, and Flash just does it way better. So they need to seriously drop metahumans for season 5. That's something they need to do. And last but not least, and this is probably my biggest issue with season 4, and it is mainly the death of one character, because this one character should not have died to begin with. Laurel Lance, aka the Black Canary. What was going through Mark Guggenheim's head to kill off this character? It is such a dumb decision. Like, Laurel probably is my favorite character on Arrow, period, okay? So, to kill her off was so stupid, because, like I said earlier on, she got very little character development this season, which massively disappointed me, because I really felt like she was a character that needed a lot more development, and apparently the reason Guggenheim didn't do much of her was because he felt like her story was done. Seriously? This character has been in comics for 70 years, and you say her story is done after 3 seasons. Like I said earlier on, does this guy know fuck all about comic books? Does he even read comic books? Does he really? Because it doesn't seem fucking evident from what I'm hearing. How can you run out of story with Laurel Lance? Oh wait, no, it's just a bullshit excuse that I want to use to kill her off, because Olicity for the win. It's honestly dumb. Like, how she dies as well is just so disrespectful and dumb. So, this is how Laurel Lance dies. Damian Dark stabs her with an arrow, okay? She's then sent to hospital. They're then obviously all the Team Arrow, they huddle around her, make her feel supportive, and then they all leave. And then it's just her and Oliver. And then she tells Oliver to go to, I think, like a purse or something. And then she tells him to get out this photo. And it's the photo that Oliver had kept of her back on his time on Lian Yu, and she reveals to him that she's happy he found Felicity, and that although she may not be the love of his life, he was the love of her life. That's what made me mad. When I saw this on screen, it pissed me off. It was literally like Guggenheim was just giving a straight up middle finger to all of us comic book fans, like thinking, oh, you thought, Arrow and Laurel were going to get back together? Huh, fuck you. Olicity for the win, because, I need to please all those Tumblr fangirls. And just how she, then she just, she gets killed off screen because she has a random spasm that comes out of nowhere. Like, how on earth can you have, a spasm attack from an arrow? Like, how is that possible? Like, I'm pretty sure Damian Dark did not taint that arrow with anything. Like, it's crazy. And I mean, I understand that there's a fan theory going around that Oliver killed her, but to be honest, I don't think Oliver would do that. He would not kill Laurel. So, it's just honestly stupid to me to kill her off, because like I said, she was my favourite character on the show. And just of how she was killed off, and with such disrespect to the character itself. Like, it honestly devastates me. I hope that she returns in Season 5. I hope there's a way that they can bring her back to life. And if they don't, I hope Katie Cassidy goes on to better things, because I think she's an amazing and gorgeous actress, and she deserves much better than to be, stuck in Guggenheim's grasp of, listening too much to the Tumblr fan base and not enough to the actual fans who actually read comics. Like, it's honestly unbelievable. And, yeah, I hope she comes back. Hopefully Flashpoint in, because of the end of Season 2 of Flash. Hopefully Flashpoint will bring her back, but we don't know, so we'll have to see. And that wraps up my rant review on Arrow Season 4. If I'm going to give this season a rating, I'm going to have to give it a 3. I honestly was so disappointed by this season. So severely let down. Like, you can go into this season with any expectations, and you will most likely still come out disappointed. It was just such a dreadful season of Arrow. Like, it just completely shits on the comic books. Sticks up middle fingers to anyone who cared about Laurel, about Roy Harper. Like, honestly, it's just so stupid. A 3 out of 10 is completely deserved for this season. I hate it. I hate this season. I hate Mark Guggenheim. Please just fire this dude as quickly as you can, CW, because it Just get him off my screen. He's an asshole. He's full of himself. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Make Arrow great again. Hashtag Loriver all the way. That's it for my review. Hope you all enjoyed it. And yeah, hope to see you again next time.